Today, we're diving into something that's, well, pretty profound: how long-term stress can actually rewire your brain. We're going to get into the science of why, after a really tough period, you might feel like you're not even the same person you were before. So let me ask you this. Have you ever looked back after a really stressful time in your life and just felt different? Like really different. As if that experience didn't just happen to you, but it actually changed you on a fundamental level. If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. And here's the thing. You are not imagining it. There's a real biological reason for that feeling. And, just understanding why it happens is the first step to seeing yourself and what you've been through in a whole new light. So after a long stretch of chronic stress, it's so common to find yourself with a much shorter fuse. Maybe you feel kind of emotionally numb, or you're just super cautious about everything. You might find you're always scanning for what could go wrong, reacting instantly to things that honestly wouldn't have even fazed you before. These are the classic signs of a brain that's been under serious pressure. And if any of that is ringing a bell, I want to be really, really clear about something. This is not a personal failure. It's not some kind of character flaw or a sign that you're weak. It's a deep, powerful, biological response. And that leads us to this, I think, really crucial shift in perspective. What if all these changes, the irritability, the caution, the quick reactions, what if there aren't a defect in the system? What if they're actually part of an incredible design for survival? Okay, so to really get this, we need to look at the brain's amazing ability to literally remodel itself when it thinks we're in danger. So let's break down how this survival remodel actually works. The key idea here is something called stress-induced neuroplasticity. Now, that's a mouthful, I know, but neuroplasticity just means your brain can change and adapt. And when you add stress-induced to it, well, it means that long-term stress is a super powerful catalyst for that change. It physically alters your brain structure, especially the balance between your brain's alarm system, the amygdala, and your rational thinking center, the prefrontal cortex. See, your brain isn't this fixed, static thing. It's much more like a dynamic city grid, right? It's constantly building new highways and closing down old side streets based on traffic demands. So when your environment is demanding constant alertness, your brain starts remodeling to meet that demand. It literally strengthens the pathways that lead to that hypervigilant alarm system. You can think of this remodeling process as a kind of software update for your brain. We could call it a vigilance upgrade, and it's designed specifically to help you navigate what it perceives as a high-threat environment. It basically shifts your brain's priorities from exploring the world to just protecting yourself. It's a huge shift in priorities. In a low-stress state, your brain is all about emotional flexibility, being calm, being open to new things. But under chronic, high stress, the game changes completely. It starts pumping resources into the pathways for fear, for vigilance, for caution. It's a fundamental switch from explore mode to protect mode. So here's kind of how that process plays out. First, your brain senses that this prolonged pressure has become the new normal. Then, it identifies a survival need for constant alertness. So what does it do? Third, it beefs up the neural pathways for fear and vigilance, making them faster, more efficient, a superhighway for threat detection. But here's the trade-off. In doing that, it weakens the pathways for more nuanced, flexible emotional responses. And this all leads us to the most important reframe of all. It's a total shift from seeing these changes as a defect to finally recognizing them as a brilliant adaptation. Let's just state this as clearly as possible. That heightened irritability, that emotional numbness, that constant caution, these are not flaws in your personality. They are the signatures of a brain that has successfully adapted to survive what it perceived as a dangerous environment. I want you to let this one really sink in for a second. You did not change for no reason. Your brain, in its incredible ancient wisdom, adapted to protect you. It reshaped itself to keep you safe in a world that felt unsafe. It did its job perfectly. So what you might be feeling is not a sign that you're broken, not at all. It is the very architecture of adaptive survival. Your brain did exactly what it evolved to do. It helped you get through it. So we've seen how unbelievably adaptive our brains are, how they can literally change themselves to help us survive. And that leaves us with a really powerful and I think hopeful question. If our brains are that good at adapting to survive, What can we do to help them adapt once more? But this time, not just to survive, but to truly thrive.